Alright guys, welcome to my first stream. The plan today is to take my Meka G1 Thermaltake mechanical keyboard, which featured ceramics black switches when it came from the shop. As you can see, I already disassembled it. Relatively easy disassembly, I might add. I will be posting pictures of all the clips just so that you know the positioning if you ever plan to disassemble this board. So the plan is to resolder, that is to desolder the base block, which is this part, or the 60% part. That's the base block. Numbers and modifiers and letters. To desolder the switches in this block and put in, so these are Cherry MX blacks. Which is a linear switch, very good for gaming. However, I recently got my hands on these, which are Cherry MX silent blacks. And in order for my teammates not to go completely crazy for me bashing my keyboard in, I'll be upgrading towards silence. So let me open the switch to show you. For those of you who don't know how Cherry does their silent switches, it's the same design as the silent reds, as far as I know. I haven't actually gotten my hands on any silent reds yet. And to be honest, I don't plan to, since the 45-gram spring is just too light for me. So Ceramics Black seems to be just the same thing, only with a stiffer 78-gram spring. Might be wrong, might be something like 80 grams. But it's definitely heavier. So the housing is pretty standard. The real sound dampening happens here in the slider. Let's see. So probably won't be able to see much on this crappy 720 camera, but these white pieces you see on both sides of the stem are actually pretty stiff rubber. So that part silences the downstroke when you bottom out, and this little piece of rubber on the end of this sliding platform, that silences out the upstroke. And I've recently soldered one of these switches in my other board, the DOS Keyboard Pro S brown switches. I replaced the space bar with one of these Germix black silent switches, and man, that feels so smooth and so quiet and so heavy, and I love it. 78 grams. Give me some more. So I think I'm closing it wrong. Right? So. Oh yeah. Whenever you're reassembling the switch, this part of the slider, which has, oh man, the camera is just really shitty quality. So there will be these two small needle-like points. They should go towards the leaf, or towards that copper part, because those two little protruding things are what actually actuate the switch. or actually close the leaf so that it actuates. There you go. It's really quiet. Well, well, it's noticeably quieter. It's not completely silent, but it's still way better, in my opinion. So the plan is to desolder everything in the base block. So we'll not be touching the navigation, the arrow keys. So these are so that will be the function block. These would be the navigation block, the number pad block, and the base block. Since I'm using this keyboard for gaming, I'm only interested in resoldering the base block and the escape key. The rest I don't really care about, since the other keys I don't use for gaming, and they're sheer MX black anyway, so they're pretty good for gaming anyway. So let's start. Let me just quickly check that the stream preview is working. Shows me as offline. Oh no. Am I offline? I've just been talking to myself this whole time. Okay, what if I click on the event preview? Oh yeah, there you go. There you go. That's going well. Cool. Okay. So I'll be using this TS100. I didn't even focus on the name. Oh yeah, there you go. TS100. Really like the soldering iron. It has replaceable tips. It is a variable temp with display. Can upgrade the firmware, and I believe it is programmable. I don't know what you would program your soldering iron to do. Maybe how quickly it shuts off when you're not using it. Don't know. Maybe temperature presets. But why I like this soldering iron is that it's relatively inexpensive. I mean, it's more expensive than your cheapo $5, $10 wired one. But this one, I believe, is 45 bucks on Banggood or AliExpress. But the thing with this is portability. So it can be wired by both a 12-volt adapter, which is what I will be using here, and a USB cable. This is a mini USB. I'm not sure how fast it will heat up with a mini USB powering it. But the fact of the matter is, if you have a good enough power bank, it would probably power the soldering iron, which means this tooth brush sized soldering iron could be taken with you anywhere. And if you have a power bank, you can just power this puppy up and help someone fix something that needs soldering, maybe an aux cable or something. So I really love the portability of this. All right, so let's make some foam for desoldering. Let's see, some water. There we go. The foam expands as soon as you put water on it. I'll be using this to clean the soldering iron tip. Place that here. And now check out how quickly the soldering iron heats up. Actually pretty impressed. First time I saw it, so that's upside down for you guys. So let's do this. So let's see. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So I may have been counting a bit slower, but takes about 15 seconds to heat up to 400 Celsius, which is pretty damn impressive if you ask me. Okay, I'm now gonna decrease the temperature to 350 and try desoldering with that, since I believe 400 is a bit too much. Alright. Oh yeah, and the desoldering pump I recently got from Reichhalt.de. I'm not butchering this, but there it is. So let's see. Let's try to desolder this puppy. So that's the F layer. It's the numpad and the navigation block. We don't care about those. So let's start with the corners so we can resolder them later or immediately before we desolder anything else. Oh wow, that was really quickly. This is why I love this desoldering pump. It's insane how clean the contact is immediately after I push the button. It's just so good. It's 235 on this German shop. Somebody recommended to me, and it's so good. I absolutely love it. Just wish it was electric so I wouldn't have to pump it every time, but the way it sucks out the solder is just amazing. Again, like, I don't even do it twice for any of the contacts. It's just so good. Okay, let's see. Let's try to remove that switch. Let's see. That was enough to desolder. I don't have a switch puller. Unfortunately, it's still on its way from 1UP Keyboards. Huge shout out to Pete. So I use these. These are meant to disassemble smartphones or any small electronics. But I found these quite useful to get under the switch. So there are two clips on the top and the bottom of the switch. So if it's desoldered, you want to remove it, you can just put something like this here to unclip the clips, and then you can start pushing it up, and it should get out pretty easily. So check out how clean these contacts are. Hold on. I mean, they still are tinned, but there's no excess solder on them, which is great. A glass here for the desoldered ones. So the goal is to desolder some of the corners first. Then solder in the silent ones, just so they keep the board rigid. And then we can desolder the entire, the complete base layer and start full solder process. Let's see. Pumped? No, it's not. There you go. Let's go with the wing key for this one. Wish the board was held in place by something, because it keeps moving around a little bit. Figured out a way to do this. Well, it's too much solder on this one, so just pump it twice. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, wearing eye protection. So just key with Pete. I'm following your safety advice. As you guys might know, safeties are #1 priority. Okay, let's see, what do we want to desolder next? Spacebar. Now I want to leave it for now. Oh, that's interesting. Wonder what these are. Wonder if you can see it. There's a an extra pin, very, very close to the two switch terminals. There's another small one here. I wonder what that is. So that's a plus equals button. Oh yeah, there's nothing on this side, obviously, but just don't know what these are. Anyway, we don't want to desolder anything we don't know anything about. So let's say, okay. Let's desolder some of the numbers and just go diagonally pretty randomly. Okay. Got him. Switch. Nice. Let's do the U. Damn, I'm so happy with this desoldering iron or desoldering pump. First time I desoldered board was at my DAS, and I come on, there you go. So the first time I desoldered the board, it was a partial desolder. I ordered a sample pack of Gaterons, Zelios, and a single B-Sun brown switch. Since I love my tactiles, I ordered the sample pack from One Up Keyboards, and I desoldered my numpad partially on my DAS just to see how the switches felt. Since I really like to build myself a board with some good tactile switches. So I was considering Zelios, considering Gateron Browns. Not really, just wanted to feel how Get Browns felt, how the other Gaterons felt. But really understood what people meant with. Oh, yeah. To move that aside. Really understood what people meant by Gaterons being smoother. When I got my End Pro recently, and got in white with RGB, I want to say, but huh, where's my RGB? Keyboard, come on. Layout 1, all right, there you go. So for different modes, and oh, you guys know everything about the End Pro most likely, but these GAD browns, they feel really smooth. They don't feel like tactiles, since browns are tactile-ish at best, but it does feel amazing. The smoothness of the switches of the GAD browns, that's great. Yeah, so I got the sample packs and I soldered it into my oh, into my DAS keyboard. So let's see. Let me show you guys what my numpad looks like now. Oh, that's a cool trick I've just learned yesterday. Somebody mentioned it in a video I watched, and I totally tried it. It just works like a charm. So apparently, with a wire keycap puller, you can pull 3 keycaps at a time. Just mind blown, right? Had no idea. So you basically put the keycap puller in, twist, and then into this again, which makes this very cool 3 keycap sandwich. And it's really nice. Okay, I need to be careful with these since they're different profile and they're blank. And it's just such a bitch to get back on if you don't remember which layer they're from. At least I found it to be a pain. Okay, so that was my first desoldering job. So it goes 62 gram Zilio, 65 gram 67 gram, 78 gram. That's the stock cherry brown, 7.5 years old. It's a Gateron brown, and this is a Bison brown. So just to show you the Bison brown. Hold on, let's switch off my slide iron for a second. No. Let me switch off. It's good. Pull the wire out. It's not the quickest. We don't heat it up for no reason. So show you the Bison brown, the way the hull tights work. Let's see, let me turn this. Again, since I don't have a keycap puller, constrained with space. So even though the DAS board is not top serviceable, you can remove the Bison brown. Beautiful housing, by the way. Translucent top. Then a panda style bottom. I know Pete keeps teasing us, saying that Bison Brown's housings are worse than pandas. He doesn't tell why, which is very frustrating, but I'll find out someday. But here you can see the hull tights. So basically any cherry style switch, which is plate mounted, you can push into the slot. The only problem I find with these is the leaves. They have to be not only straight, but they need to be basically matching whatever the leaf positioning was on the switch that was originally installed, which is probably a Bison Brown or Panda or anything with a hull type, really. So let's see. So the problem I found is when I tried to insert a regular brown cherry MX brown switch in there, I bent one of the leaves, which is not ideal. And even though that particular switch I had no real use for, it was a desoldered cherry MX brown. God knows I'm not soldering that into any board ever. But still, if I was swapping two expensive switches, for example, I wouldn't want to bend the leaves just because they were at slightly different angles. Not still not sold on the hull tights. All right, so we desoldered the F key, the 0 key, and the Win key. I inserted something else, but let's do those. So F, U, no, 0, U, and Win. Perfect. These are blank, so I have no idea. Right, let's see what is next. Backspace. Let's remove that. Oh man, that keycap puller in the post. I miss you so much. Sorry, not the keycap puller, the key puller, switch puller. There you go. I find that the upper clip is much harder to get loose for some reason. They seem to be identical. It's just harder to remove for some reason. Okay, just to make sure I'm not breaking out. Yeah, I am. I am breaking out the wrong switch. That's great. I'm breaking out the equal sign even though I desoldered a 0. That's perfect. Okay, so that's the one that's desoldered. No wonder it's hard to unclip. Yeah, dumbass. All right. So what was that again? It's Win L. That's U. Sure. See if co-star stabilizers give us some pain. Shouldn't. Yeah, the ring pain is trying to unclip. a soldered switch. Okay, and then U. I think that's U. There it is. Cool. I have no real strategy on which switches are. I want to solder in first. I just want the corner soldered so that the board doesn't start to warp. So since the function row stays in, I don't need to resolder that. That edge will stay rigid. So ideally, I want to desolder the right control and the back, the backslash. Yeah, let's do those two. Let's reattach the iron, heat it up. So the right control, which is this one. Okay, cool. So it remembered my setting. So it heated up to 350, even though heat up to 400 before. That's nice. Set it every time. Right control and the back slash. What is it? Thick lines. Carrying the signal. It's nice actually. I like this PCB so far. I mean, Meka is built like a tank. Everything. I mean, the wire alone. I'll show you the wire later when I assemble the board. Man, that wire. It's almost 1 centimeter thick. Of course, it carries the two USB cables in it for the dock and the audio jack and microphone cables. But I mean, it's so heavily braided and looks like a military grade wire. There you go. You go. Good. So let's get a glass for some of our cherry MX black silent switches. There you go. So let's replace our 556 switches. 6. So we'll solder these in first. Then somehow we'll have to remember which ones. Ooh, that's a bent leaf. It's very bent. That's the problem with shipping switches in a translucent, thin plastic bag with no wrap. They're shipped like this, and I mean, I understand this is way cheaper, but just check out how well Cherry packages the switches if you order a developer kit. So these are this is a Cherry speed switches. So these are Chermex silver switches. Just check out this mold. Every switch is safe. Every switch is, you can rattle a little bit, but to lift it up, you need to literally lift it, and then it slides back in. So I will definitely be keeping this mold for any spare switches once I'm done resoldering my DAS to these Chermex Silent Cherrymax Speed silver switches. But just keep in mind, if you order switches and they arrive in a bag, you need to make sure that all the leaves are straight before you push it into your PCB, otherwise you risk bending the leaf, which is usually not the end of the world. You can usually straighten it out, but still something you would preferably want to avoid. All right, there you go. So let's just check all of the pins went through. So there's our desoldered and replaced Win key, U key, F, 0, right control, and the backslash. Okay. So what I have here is some, let's see, that's 0.5 mil gauge solder with flux in it, 2.5% flux, I believe. I think it does have lead in it. I'm not sure. This is a semi-well ventilated room. It does have a vent that goes outside, but it doesn't have an active fan. So I'll have to crack open a window or something. Okay, whoa, 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 whoa. That's not what I want. Wait, where's the beginning? Oh no. Okay, there's the beginning. It just took off to loops that are not close to the start. Oh man, that's a shame. Let's see if we can put them back together. Or back on the spool. This one. That's 2. Wow. Actually, should be able to put it on. Damn. That's why you get that spool guard thing that everybody keeps talking about. Right. Still very new to it. Okay, so it went down to 200, not to overheat. Now that I picked it up, I don't understand how it realized that I just have a gyroscope in it. I don't know. I'll have to read about it later. So again, I'm pretty new to soldering, so let's see. Now these leaves, when they're not tinned, they're really hard to see. Oh, this solder doesn't want to melt at 350. Been told I use too much solder, and I tend to agree, but I just don't know. Oh, this one actually turned out okay. Wonder if you can see it. So this is my solder joint. Oh man, this cam, it's just awful. Oh no, it's actually the light. It's not enough light, so my soldering point looks okay, I think. It's not too much, but definitely get better with time. Should. Oh, I'm getting a lot of flux from the solder on the tip. I feel like I'm cleaning the tip a lot more. The solder. I can get my hands on Kestel or something. Snow clean. Oh, that's interesting. Huh, whenever I touch the solder board, there's a small crackle in my headphones. That's interesting. Alright, that looks good. So the hard parts are the corners, because the board keeps trying to bend out usually. Okay, so there's not a lot of flex in this one, so I'll just solder in the escape. Okay. Problem with flux settling on the soldering iron tip is that it forms a black crust, which usually doesn't let you heat solder up with that particular part that's black. Yeah, we lose contact on that. Add a little bit more solder. Okay, it's definitely too much solder. No, I think it's good enough. It's not like it's a soldering exam. I'd rather have a bit more solder. Huh? So I'm using the technique seen at Ski with Pete when you basically um, slide your soldering iron up the leaf, so you straighten out your joint, and it's been working very well for me. Only problem is when I'm heating up the board or the leaf, as opposed to touching the solder to the soldering iron, it takes a long time to melt. Now I don't know if the solder has a higher melting point than whatever Pete uses. I was really conscious of just damaging the board, applying too much heat. Oh, that's a nice joint. That's not a nice joint. It's too heavy. Sorry, not enough solder. Man, I wish I had for lighting this room. Should get myself a good desk lamp. Well, now it melts very well. I don't know what changed. Huh, that's weird. I don't know why, but touching the solder to the base of the leaf melts it way faster. I don't know how that works. Clean out the soldering iron tip. Nope, that's not enough. Okay, that's fine. Ah, toxic fumes. Smells so good. I should also get a fan if I start doing this more often. Yeah, so I ordered parts for two 60% boards from Taobao with the help of Mange HD, which is a wonderful mod at One Up Keyboard Discord. The problem with Manges is he gets completely overboard purchasing Mac stuff, and he got me on board, and I ended up spending $300. I mean, I got a lot of stuff for it, or ordered a lot of stuff. I haven't gotten the stuff yet. But just a piece of advice: if you want to buy something Mac related, and you're on a budget, man, just probably not your guy. Gets really enthusiastic and then apologizes for making it broke. Which is fair enough. Could have said no at any point. But I mean, stating GH60 for $5. How can you not order a lot of them? Why would you not want to clean off? There you go. Okay, and then the last one that I desoldered. No, that I did it before. Let's see. Right control backslash U 0 key F key and the Win key. Yeah, okay. So we're done with these. Funnily enough, the Cherrymax silent blacks are actually have gray sliders, not black. That was interesting. Didn't expect that. Let's just check the flex. There's almost no flex. It's a pretty rigid board, so that's good. All right. Let's see. Solder. Everything else. For how I can avoid desoldering the new switches. Should have marked them somehow. I'm too lazy. Wouldn't be the first time I desoldered the switch I've already soldered in. So let's just do this. Okay. Trusty desoldering iron. We want to start at backspace. $340. No, $350. Actually, just go to $370. Why not? See, that helps. This solder actually melts way faster than what I use. Nice. Good. Careful, there's this mysterious contact next to the switch contact. Don't want to desolder that. Okay, so I was talking to a fellow mech enthusiast Discord recently. He said he was getting an electric pump. I wonder if they are electric pumps that are not wired. Probably not. Batteries won't be enough to do this kind of suction on a regular basis for multiple shots. So, yes, all of the electrical desoldering pumps are literally socket powered, which is fine. Just wasn't sure that the desoldering iron would work. It's a lot of solder I put on. Try less solder. Yeah, the only problem is you have to pump action desoldering pump every time. After every time you desolder. I have like what, 62 switches, 63 maybe. That's 120 pumps. As I understand, you have to do that with an electric desoldering pump. Now, if I were doing this semi-professionally or like commercially, like Pete, I would totally get a desoldering, which can both solder and suck out the liquid solder. That'd be amazing. But since I'm doing this casually right now, just for myself, it's just a waste of time for me. So let's see. Nice. This one we already did. Yeah, by the way, it's 6 a.m. here in Riga, Latvia. And, the missus might stop by and give me a piece of her mind for not sleeping at 6 a.m. Oh well, I mean, gotta desolder the board. It's slightly less noisy. She'll understand, right? Well, important thing is that you guys understand. Doing time-consuming mods, they're also expensive, for very marginal benefit or improvement. Basically, what that community is all about. Come on, melt that. There we go. Melt that. Looks. Oops, forgot to bump. Boom. 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 Okay. So yeah, again, I used copper wick to desolder the numpad I showed you guys on my DOS. Compared to having a desoldering pump using the wick, using the wick is just a nightmare. It takes so long to get the solder out, and you never get that much solder out. You get enough to remove the switch, which I guess is all you need, but it's just so much faster with a desoldering pump. And I swear I paid more for the wick than I did for this pump. This pump cost €2.35. I couldn't believe it. It's a German online shop. Reizhalt.de. I have no idea how to pronounce that. It's REICHELT.de. I believe I spelled it correctly. I don't even know how I found out about it. I think somebody mentioned it on Discord when I was asking for shops to order mechanical keyboard parts in Europe. Since One-Up Keyboards is in US, Mechanical Keyboards is in US. All of the good shops I want to support basically in the United States. And shipping is a bitch. Like, yeah, so I should finish telling you guys about the order I made from Taobao for like $300+ after talking to Mensch, also known on our Discord as Fika. Yeah, so initial plan was to build a Phantom TKL. So I needed some parts. I needed some switches. So I wanted to go with with Zelios. Since I ordered the pack, I really like the 75 and 65 and 67 gram versions. Thought I'd get that. Then again, I talked to Mensch. Mensch has good reasons, his words, not mine, for disliking Zeal, who makes Zelio switches. So he said that, come on, that's just make an ergo clear if you're on a budget. Just it's basically the same switch, and then we can stick it to Zeal and not order from his site. Like, all right, I don't have anything against Zeal, but I mean, we don't like Zeal, we don't like Zeal. You got to get on board, right? So I say, well, what's the best place to order cherry clears to eventually make the ergo clears? And, so we started looking, and we realized that on Taobao, which is a Chinese, I don't know, Walmart. I don't know. It's just it has everything. Yeah. Chinese Amazon something. Oh yeah, should be good. Yeah, so we go there, find the switches. The switches were like what they 70. No, there's like 140 yen, 70 switches. It was something reasonable, but it was actually we didn't save any money. It would have been the same ordering them from the same German shop I just mentioned. However, I started looking for PCBs and stabs and realized you can get a phantom PCB for €5. So I decided to get two, as you do. It's like €10, no biggie. Then I'm like, well, if I'm getting the two PCBs, I should also get some like some cases for it, some like cheapo cases. And he's like, oh yeah, sure, no problem. I'll hook you up. So he sent me the links. So the plastic one was alright. It was like 15 to €20, I think, something like that. And then he's like, "Oh yeah, dude, but check this out. This is a keyboard fans. So like, I believe it was a 5-degree aluminum case, which is gorgeous. I mean, no doubt about it. But I was like €50. I'm like, well, let's make one of the Satans a budget board. Go with the cheapo stuff, and let's make one like really nice Satan with an aluminum case from keyboard fans and nice plate." Somebody's like, "Oh yeah, let's go with brass." I'm like, cool. I've heard good things about brass plates. But brass plate also set me back like 20 to €30 or something. It's all right. That's fine. We got an aluminum plate, I think, for the cheapo one, since we're trying to go on a budget. But I didn't want to just build a plateless like PCB mounted. I love the rigidity. This is one of the biggest reasons Macs feel so good. Tip is toasted. Tin it a little bit. It's not really good at tinning. Use that crackle in there. Yeah, I don't think that's any better. I have a lot to learn on how to properly maintain and clean soldering iron tips. Yeah, so we ended up getting two cases, one plastic, one aluminum, from keyboard fans. So 2 Satans, there's $10, a big deal. I'm like, okay, we need stabs, and man is like, dude, get Cherry MX original stabs, like cherry stabs, original ones. I'm like, yeah, cool, but can I get like a couple just cheapo ones for the cheapo board? He's like, no, you can't. You don't want to skimp out on the staplers. I'm like, all right, man, whatever you say. It's like $4 per set of 60% stabs. Like, good. I don't wanna hear that rattle. Oh yeah, he actually sent me a video with a sound demonstration of rattling stabilizers, and I literally bled out of my ears for like about 10 seconds after hearing this. It was just the most horrible noise. It was god awful. Just like, I don't know. I didn't think keyboards could make noise like this. So yeah. So then, like, it's like, well, you might as well get some LEDs. I don't remember if Satan supports it because that's not what I ended up getting. But LEDs were dirt cheap. Um, just order like 205 euros or something. So yeah, so I got some LEDs. Okay, so that's 2 plates, 2 cases, 2 boards, some LEDs, some stabs. I think there was something else. Oh yeah, we wanted to order Crytox, but apparently they, at least Taobao Focus, there are problems shipping liquids out of China or into Europe. I'm not sure which country imposes the limit. I believe it's Europe. Well, the European Union, rather than a country. It just says that, nah, just can't bring in liquids in small quantities if it's not commercial or something. I haven't actually read the law on this, but what it looks like to me. Yeah, so unfortunately, couldn't order Crytox. And yeah, so somehow all these small parts ended up totaling at something like $340. So yeah, getting parts for 2 boards and change, like some spare parts. I got more stabilizers than I wanted, and well, than I needed. But I might replace these co-stars and this cherry on this Thermaltake Meka with the original cherries, since I use it a lot at home. Definitely be replacing stabs on the N Pro, even though after lubing, it's way better than it was when it got here. But that sound was close to vomit-inducing. Not quite as hard as that video man showed me. Jesus, that was hard. I think it was Rhino Feed reviewing a board. Just right. But yeah, if you're building a board, it's not super budgety. Just get good stabs, man. Just get them, lube them up, and enjoy. Enjoy your long keys being less loud than your normal keys. Such a pleasure to have with stabs. Please lube stabs. Oh, that's so interesting. What's K45? Ah, yeah. It's probably place for the cherry style stabs. I have a whole CB for it on both sides of the shift. Oh, it says K45. Whew. Back getting kind of stiff. we must push on. I mean, I work 9 to 5, so I only have about an hour and a half to finish this. Just saying. Gotta get a move on. So yeah, anyway. So yeah, so the plan was to get the Phantom, and somehow I ended up ordering stuff. None of which I believe will go into my actual Phantom. And I spent $340 on. Oh yeah, and the second shipping, which is how Taobao Focus works, cost me another 50. So it's about $400 for two boards. One of them is actually just like a budget board. No idea where that money went. Just got sucked in by the shopping fever. Wait, there was also a keycap puller there. It's a metal keycap puller, which looked dope. And I mean, when you look at the total, it's still unreasonable. Oops. Pump it. Pump it louder. Pump it louder. So yeah, I honestly don't know why I'm streaming this. This is really monotonous. And I don't have the charisma and the gorgeous gray curls of Ski with Pete. So, and my setup sucks, but hey, I thought if I ever want to stream my builds, I gotta start somewhere, right? And apparently, somewhere is an subpar 720p Logitech webcam with a half decent mic, which is on my HyperX Cloud headset, and very poor lighting, which decreases the quality of the webcam even more. But hey, I mean, I'm live anyway, so gotta start somewhere. The default setup with a webcam, it actually offers you like no encoding, just go live with the Google Hangouts, which is a nice option to have, but I should definitely look into using an encoder in my machine. Next time I stream. I should also get is a better camera. It's this. Actually, the first thing I should do to improve the stream, I believe, is there you go, the lighting. I need a good desk lamp. Wait, did I desolder the left control? No, I didn't. There was a really cool project that I want to build with that DIY Perks did. Built an LED strip lamp that goes in an arch on top of your table, which means you get almost shadowless objects on your desk. The only shadows are from your hands, maybe your head if you have terrible posture like me. Oh, the way I'm currently sitting is just horrendous. My neck is starting to hurt. But get a full workday ahead. Gonna finish this mod at night. Why won't you desolder? There you go. Man, that's a lot of solder. That's only half of it. The rest is on the floor. Okay, let's check if we're done. So row 0. Everything desoldered except the win key, which we already soldered, and the control, which we did solder in. Shift. Shift. Caps lock. This. F already soldered in. Good. And slash. All these are desoldered. Soldered. Desoldered. Desoldered. Good. Yeah, I believe we're done. Nice. So I'm gonna disconnect my iron now. Clean the tip. Yeah, that thing's deteriorating fast. So time to pull the switches out. Pull all the switches out. Whew. That took me like an hour. Desolder. It's not actually too bad. Next time should be much faster. You don't really need a keycap puller, but you need something. Try to remove a beast on brown, but I didn't have these things. God. Really wanted to show someone the fact that you can remove switches. And you they're soldered in. Oh, sorry, that's a 0 key. Damn. Should be careful about trying to pull switches that are already soldered in. This board has co-star stabilizers, which have mixed feelings on. Don't actually know if they're good or not. Everyone I watch seems to prefer the cherry style stabs. I never really mentioned why co-stars are not their choice. Maybe co-stars are less readily available. Can't see. Oh, I'm an idiot. They're gray. I can see that I don't need to pull them out. Ah. It's hard to be me. Let's do it. Actually going way faster than last time. Though last time I only had 5 switches. So, practice on. This time I have half of the board. You're not great. I should. What? That's the F key. And I soldered in the old switchback. Great. Perfect. Nice. Let's see. Let's see how it is. So, here we go. Mistakes are made constantly. I mean, that's how you learn. Gotta break some eggs, man. One way. Not to fail. Just to fail a lot in advance. Also noticed that mechanical keyboards is it's like it's like something shameful when you start making mechs and customizing modding. So what your brain does, at least what my brain does, and I've noticed it with other members of the community, is it's like smoking. You know it's bad, but you're still trying to like hook your friends on it. Sometimes just like if somebody smokes only casually, like once a month or something, and you smoke all the time, and they get out and you're like, oh, you want to smoke? Like, please do the thing I know is bad with me, so I don't feel as bad. Because if we're doing this together, then it's kind of okay, right? So with mechanical keyboards, it's just at some point I just started basically like PRing mechanical keyboards and like, yeah, these are great. You guys should consider getting one. So now at least one of my colleagues is considering of buying a Mac. Oh no, that's already started in my bed. Colorblind, but these blacks and grays are not that far apart. We're almost done with switch removal. I'll have to. Okay, we only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 switches, and for some reason this F key, which I soldered the old one. God knows why I did that, but I can desolder it first thing next time. So let's remove the old switches. There you go. Huh. Let's see. Just gonna check. My stream's going alright. What I want to see is the chat. Oh, Chokan joined. I think Chokan just put out an interesting video on I don't know what it was, top 10, 60. I think it was top 10, 60% mechanical keyboards, which was really nice. Some really good boards there. Shout out to Chokan. Chokan has some really good videos. Max. Yeah. Chokan, what you're saying humble beginnings, so what did you end up upgrading to? Oh wait. Oh yeah, that's fine. So what did you end up upgrading to? What's your soldering pump choice? That'll be interesting to know. Alright, let's put in the new switches. And yeah, I mean, I'm totally on board with the humble beginnings part. I believe that's the way to go. I used to get tools that were like performance grade tools for just home improvement. That's totally unnecessary. And problem I used to face is when you get something this good, sometimes you just use it once and never again. Just bent. And then psychologically, it just sucks. Like you spend all this money on this great tool and you only used it a couple of times. So I'm a strong believer in gradual upgrades now. Sure, you spend more money. It's a bent leaf. Spend more money overall. First of all, when you buy a basic tool, you very quickly find out what exactly you're looking for, like what features you're missing, as opposed to just like getting a $600 like soldering station and then realizing that that's not what you need, or that in fact you could have just gotten a $50 soldering iron. Chokin says he has a hack of desoldering gun now. Yeah. Oh yeah. The streaming setup is wow. It's just humble beginnings is not even covering it. Just wanted to get it out there, you know, just just to start. The biggest problem I actually feel like with streaming. I mean, I know you need to get a capture card at some point and all that, but for me, it's actually making sure that your cam is stable. Like you need tripods or stands. Like whenever Pete shows Pete from Ski with Pete and One Up Keyboards, whenever he shows his setup, he's got all these mounts. Oh, like the monitor on his left. It's just like a pretty solid tube. I don't know how it's mounted, but it never shakes or anything. He has a mic on it, so it shouldn't really, mustn't move with a good sound. And I mean, really need to plan your table around it or your whole setup. So just really look for some videos where people go through their setup and how they stream. The problem is, whenever I searched for those before, it was just some guy saying like, "All right, let's just go through my premium 4K streaming setup," and it's like $4,000 DSLR cameras, and you're like, yeah, okay, I need somebody who still remembers how to start, not somebody who spends thousands of dollars to improve one single cam out of like 8 cams they used to stream. Yeah, I should just look for videos when people show how to make basic designs. Yeah, I know, and he's planning to. So Chogan says it's like 4 or 5 cameras. Pete, I think it's more actually. He has like the selfie cam, the selfie chat cam. He's got the overhead. He's got the action camera, the soldering iron, and then the sixth one, at least that I remember. The sixth one is the one he calls camera number 2, which is usually I've actually never seen it powered. But yeah, so that's 6 cams, and the guy's sitting in a space that's smaller than my current room. I mean, his room is much bigger, but just the space he occupies for his workstation, and the monitors, and the streaming, and the everything, it's actually less than what I have here. And it's just amazing how much he was able to gradually put into that setup. And again, that was a gradual upgrade, which I believe it's a very good approach. Pete is doing a lot of stuff right. I mean, I've no professional experience in this, but I see a lot of things he does well. Yeah, it's a it's a really small space. Chokin says, well, it is small. I remember talking to Pete. He was mentioning it was like 70 square meters or something, 70, I think, and the rent is ridiculous. It's a Manhattan apartment, so the rent is just bonkers. I don't understand like that. I mean, I understand I don't live in Manhattan. I live in Riga, Latvia, which is Not not the center of the world or anything, but with the rent Pete has or has to pay for his Manhattan apartment a month, I if I made payments like this, I would have paid for my 60 square meter apartment, which is a 2 bedroom, and Pete's is a single bedroom because it's a larger studio. Um, I would have been able to pay for my apartment, and when I mean pay, I mean buy, um, in 11 months. So you can buy a full apartment for this, like, I don't know, 40, 50,000 euros. Chokan, feel free to pop by. I mean, I'm not sure, probably like at least 30 minutes, maybe an hour. I don't know how fast I'm not fast with my soldering yet. But thanks for stopping by. Just hop back, check in once you're back, and we can discuss some more next stuff. But yeah, um, when Pete told me how much it was, I don't think I'm gonna disclose how much he pays for his apartment right now. Not sure if that was told to me in confidence, but it's thousands of dollars. Yeah, thanks, Joker. So yeah, it's thousands of dollars. It's like more than 2,000 a month. That's a lot of stuff, but I mean that's Manhattan. Like here in Europe, I work in IT, and London and um, the city Stockholm. Yeah, so I work in the Nordic sector for Scandinavian clients mostly, like Finland, Norway, Sweden, Denmark. Those are the bulk of the clients that order software from us. So the rent in Stockholm and in London, well, most people are familiar how expensive London is. Stockholm is also really expensive to buy, especially apartments, and the rent is also pretty expensive. But I hear that the same thing might be happening with Berlin, since a lot of startups are there now, since it's really expensive to be in London. Most people are, most companies are opening startups in Berlin, and I don't know what the rent is in Berlin right now, but I'm scared to ask. One of my friends is going there, work for a couple of months. He's an iOS developer, and should ask him really how much the rent is. This is bonkers. 11 months of rent, full apartment for life. That should not be the case, I think. Even though salaries are probably higher as well. Our minimal salaries are abysmal. That's just, they're awful. It's like 400 euros or something. I don't know. It's just something horrible. I mean, when you earn more, and in the IT sector in Latvia, it's probably the highest paying employee job. You get way more, but the cost of living is way less. So I've learned to never judge somebody's well-being based on its salary, because the price of living is just so different. Oh, there you go. Rogue Chairman's Black Switch on my lap. Okay. Well, then. Time to solder this puppy. See if it works. Well, Wait, where are these? Huh. I wonder why I put these Shermax silence to one side. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Was I saving them for something? It's weird. Okay. You go in the box. You go in the box. Sip of water. Okay. Let's solder this in. Oh, that's bad. So overflowed on the contact I was talking about earlier. Yeah, these tricky. Probably still contact there. Try to solder it in person, then see. Try to solder from the other. Don't like that joint. Well, we'll just have to see if it works. If not, I'll just clean it. Solder. Sharply solder some switches in the middle, just so there's less flex. Oh no, there's no. It's in the board, just realized. It's the quarter switch that are holding it in place. That was a weird contact. Oh, man, I'm gonna pay for this tomorrow. I've been up since 3 a.m. So basically slept from 10 to 2:30, 10 p.m. to 2:30 a.m. and I have a full day's work ahead of me. But again, you gotta remember marginal benefits or real life consequences. That's what I live for. Oh, passion. Just wanting to make something better. That drives the DIY nuts. That's why we're up at 6 a.m. soldering boards. People will be like, what? Stayed up for what? You soldered a keyboard? Aren't they like 10 euros? In an electronics shop, you're like, yeah, but you don't understand. There's a mechanical switch. And they're like, yeah. Fine, man. Not everybody has to understand why your hobby is cool. That's why it's a hobby, not a universally accepted pastime. If everybody liked it, probably wouldn't be a hobby, just like a profession, like a televised event. Just my advice to anyone getting into this: feel proud of your hobby. Don't expect others to feel the same way you do, which is completely normal. Everybody has their own hobbies. That's what makes it beautiful. Somebody makes towers from LED strips, like DIY Perks, which is an amazing tech channel or DIY channel I recently found. Shout out to Matthew, who's the host. Oh man, that's definitely too much solder. So Atari over Discord says, can't wait to get my hands on my next Preonic in the next few weeks. Think's my favorite size and layout. This better buy is nice, but for some reason it doesn't feel right. Damn. Ortholinear is all the rage. I should get myself Preonics. I mean, the smaller one, the plank, I think. I don't remember what they're called. That's just not my cup of tea. I want a little bit more keys. I'm slowly wrapping my hand around the poker layout, the 60%, but it's still pretty hard due to the lack of the navigation layer. Navigation block. Thing is, I don't really mind the buttons that much. Buttons are fine with the function key. Problem is I use a lot of hotkeys to edit code, which are just basic Windows hotkeys like Control Shift Right will select the next word, and Control Shift End will select everything up until the end of the line. Same goes for Control Shift Home, select everything till the beginning of the line. And I use this a lot, and then which means that the arrow keys themselves are not the problem. The problem is four keys having to be pressed in order to do pretty basic text selection. Okay, that's this burning feeling. These tiny splashes, that flux jumping off the solder points. Yeah, if I do this more, I should definitely get my hands on the spool holder, which feeds the solder nicely. Thing is, it costs 14 euros here. Looks like a fair price. It's a sturdy metal thing, the replaceable, the removable like spool stem. I don't know. Hey, there are probably much cheaper options online. I should order it online probably. I'm also not completely happy with the solder. Not bad. It's just gets the soldering tip all mucked up. And flux. Burnt flux doesn't melt solder when it's on the tip. So keep looking for a good flux. I tried looking for Kestel, which Pete is crazy about, but I just couldn't find it. And I didn't feel like waiting since my parts started arriving to order it. Which probably is a good segue in, in the whole Krytox fiasco that's happening right now. So it's hard to get it in decent quantities in Europe anyway. But according to Mange, Danes are now pushing for a ban on Krytox since it apparently causes cancer. Which I have to eat it or I don't know, inhale it. I don't understand. I understand how oil like lubricant can cause cancer. For whatever reason, they're pushing for it, and which makes it harder to buy it in Europe. Problem is, it's also hard to buy it from China. In China, it costs a fraction of what it costs here, but at least when I ordered from Taobao Focus, they just said, like, nah, sorry, man, not gonna, not gonna send liquids to Europe. So I'm currently in active search of a replacement lubricant that is as close as possible to Krytox 1514. So initially, when I started asking people, they said that Krytox 103, I think it is, the oil, the liquid thing, is the best for inside of the switches. and Krydox 205 grease is great for stabilizers. And then either JB or someone else said that it's actually a good idea to mix those two together to get average viscosity between those two. That stuff's actually really good for insides of switches. I think they meant insides of switches because it's still pretty viscous compared to silicon grease, which people use for stabs. But since I couldn't get my hands on Krytox and nobody would recommend anything else, Bench HD swears by it due to temperature stability, like stability under different temperatures, which for some reason is very important to him. I don't intend to use my boards outside. I mean, I might carry one in my laptop, but the gets thicker. But I mean, the lubricant will get thicker, but as soon as you bring it into a warm indoors environment, it should just become more viscous again. Anyway, so I went into a bearing shop. They specialize on bearings, and as you know, bearings need lubrication because a lot of machinery uses bearings. It's really expensive to replace, so you can then maintain those bearings. And they need very good quality lube. So they do sell lubricants there. Fortunately, nothing out of the box which has the same viscosity, which is about 140 millimeters squared per second, which is the viscosity rating unit. So yeah, so Krydox 1514, why I want to get that is, first of all, Manch recommended it, and I will buy anything that man recommends when it comes to mechanical keyboards. It's within my budget. But also, since Krydox 103, which is recommended for inside the switches, is 60 millimeters square per second, I believe. So it's really like viscous. It's liquid. Sorry, when you say something's viscous, you mean that it's actually very thick. What I mean, it's very low viscosity. So, and the 205, or yeah, 103 and 205, the 205 grease that people use for tabs, Krydox, that one, I don't even know what the viscosity on it is, but it's thick. You ever seen silicone Teflon paste? The electric grease, same thing. It's pretty viscous. It's not even a liquid. It's like it's grease. Still a liquid, but it's like a gel. But so yeah, so the Paradox 103 viscosity level is about 60, and 1514 Paradox 1514 lubricant has the viscosity of 140, around that millimeters squared per second. So that sounds like a hell of a better idea than just mixing two greases together and just getting one grease with the right viscosity. Seems like a much better deal to me. And if I cannot get Krydox, I'll see. So basically, I went to that bearing shop, said looking for this oil. They said like, well, it's not really oil. This is not viscous enough to be considered oil. This is just some pretty runny lubricant that you want. Okay, doesn't matter. I need it. It's really good. Can I get it? Do you have an alternative? And they're like, well, came here on a Friday, so I'll give you the answer on Monday. So it's Sunday now. I hope they contact me tomorrow before my switches arrive for my two Satan boards, which will not be Satan's, will be HD60s, I think, since those support both standard and non-standard bottom row, which will let me put the navigation keys in a 60% form factor board, which sounds amazing. So I don't really need a long right shift, which I barely ever use, and I don't need the right control and right alt on the right side of the spacebar. Why won't you just lie down on the plate? No, that's too much. It's too much solder. Sorry. Oh, I could actually clean some flux off the soldering iron tip. Definitely need solder feeding. Almost burned myself. Then again, that's too much solder. I believe like if the solder joint tip stands up higher than the leaf, that's too much solder. A lot of my joints have too much solder, but as long as it's not protruding too far, it's not sharp, pierce the case or anything, damage the kit. Too worried. Yeah, okay, so the trick, I think, is not to hold the solder, or sorry, not the solder, the soldering iron at the base of the board, is to heat up the leaf without touching the board, then touch the solder to the leaf. Basically, whatever, and you can actually heat up the base, but whenever the solder starts feeding in, it starts to melt. What I found to be helpful is to lift up the iron, be on top of the leaf. That way you can feed the solder to the base, and then the solder just pools on the plate more evenly around the leaf. It's just something I found to be useful. I really should watch some soldering guides. There are a lot I hear. A lot of good soldering technique tutorials. So I'm basically just doing this by watching Pete and JD solder. I have some experience with soldering, but mostly actually desoldering. As a kid, my grandfather would actually just give me, that's too much solder, would just give me an old PCB Actually, they weren't printed circuit boards. They were just plain circuit boards, like out of an old radio. So give me that, and I would desolder it. I would put it in a vise, and yeah, and I would desolder all the condensators, the resistors, the transistors. I would put them into different boxes. So it's actually a fun pastime for me. Just let go of the cable. Oh, it's a stab. It's a stab wire holding my headphone cable in. That's interesting. All right. What else do we have left? I have the bottom row, parts of the second row. I'm going at this no particular order. I don't know, it's 7 a.m. I slept 4 hours tonight. Sometimes your brain is just refusing to be rational because we're not rational. Again, too much solder. Okay. Let's try. So I think it's 8 more buttons. No, 8 more switches. What? Buttons. Same. God, I just went insane. 7:30. Yeah, about eight switches left to solder. Test. Test it with a keyboard tester. Then reassemble. Oh, I remember I was so happy when I found somebody's blog where they highlighted how to disassemble the DAS keyboard. So they highlighted the actual positions of all of the latches between the top and the bottom parts of the case. And whoever that was, I just wanted to buy them cookies because it's just such a nice thing to log your work and to share it later so that whoever else needs to do this, even if it's like 2 other nerds, it's just so nice. The community really benefits from people like that person who made that DOS keyboard disassembly guide. On Friday, I resoldered half of my DOS keyboard with Cherry MX Speed silver switches, and I thought I was done. I started using the keyboard tester, and then my buttons don't work. I'm like, oh man, did I bump a line? Did I short the two terminals somewhere, or what did I do? And then it shows that like the caps, the left, well, the caps lock, the left shift, and the left control not working. And then I check, and they're not soldered in. So I soldered them in. I start checking again. And then left alt doesn't actuate. So I check, and it's also not soldered in. It's like you cannot see the individual switches that are not soldered from the other side of the board because they still have the white ring um, below the leaf, even if the leaf is not soldered in, which makes it super hard to spot sometimes. I'm really good at spotting like odd stuff out of the set, but this just is way harder than it seemed to me. Okay, that stuff, giant solder, nice solder that. Cool. Well, there are a bunch of these that I would like to better. Should be fun. Ooh, that's awesome. It's a bad soldering point. It's shallow on one side. Actually, that was enough solder. It just didn't go. Oh wait, same on the end. Oh, flux. Okay, let's do a quick inspection even though it helped me before. Really worried about this one contact that just got so close to the one that I was desoldering. I'm pretty sure they're melded together. So I'm gonna desolder them both. Try to actually I don't want to desolder the try to solder that one in. It's exactly the same thing. Well, we'll just check. It's clean solder or not. Damn, I'll have to solder there. Alright, so let me show you this wire and the back plate. Here's what it looks like. That's the wire. It's pretty thick, to say the least. I mean, that's this giant soldering iron, desoldering pump. That wire's thick. Just as a comparison to the leads, that's why it's so thick. There are 4 wires inside, but just compared to a 3.5 mil, it's fat. This braiding is actually cloth, not plastic. So it's actually really good cable, except that it's really heavy. No idea why this is scotch taped here, but it has 8 years worth of crumbs. Problem is there's no bus. This focus for the pins. It has to be inserted correctly into this board. So the only way you can do this is by actually connecting two boards together. And that's going to be tricky because it was hella tricky to get off in the first place. Just place it right in these ads at first. Then we'll just try to figure out if that's... Okay. That's weird. There you go. Cool. Feel the tension grip. Slow down the downward motion of the board. So let's plug this puppy in. It's the board. Caps lock works. Time to open the keyboard. Yep. Tester. That's pretty much the tester. Cool. Let's go. Nope. Oh yeah, that's print. So it did actually. So scroll, pause. That block. Checking that I didn't damage any of the lines responsible for the right side of the board. Nope. All good. Now, go for this. Oh, it's not working. Let's what's win key? Okay, the win key is not working. This is faces. These just open windows. Yeah. The right control is not working. Oh no, that's working. Just that I pressed the what's it called? The context menu button. So yeah, this one key is not working. Is that the only thing? Enter. Also resolder that F because I left a stuck switch in there. And we need to see what's wrong with this one key. Win tab. Nope, still doesn't work. All right. So I'm gonna unplug the board, then to leather this somehow out. Man, I don't know how they meant to. No, didn't plan for this to be disassembled. Let's just press it. Leathering here should be fine. Hope I didn't bend anything. Yeah, this Duster is amazing. So the left win key. Oh, I'm a dumbass. The left win key doesn't work on Meka G1. It's actually a function key. It wouldn't actuate. Okay, so I think we're done, except for the F key. Let's just quickly desolder that. Desolder the key. Did it? Cool. Now I need to put take the old switch out. The new switch in. Solder. Connect. Test. Close the board. There you go. Boom. 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 Solder. Okay. I don't get how tinning works. Just repeat like a monkey. Well, seems to have made it a bit cleaner. I don't know. Anyway, thanks. This soldering iron. Actually, let's try cleaning the flux. I have some sanitary alcohol, which is 96%. Yeah, good stuff. And some Q-tips. I think I had some Q-tips. There they are. Okay. So let's try. Yeah, saw some flux. Wait, it's everywhere. Here. Problem is, isopropyl alcohol also leaves a little bit of a streak, so I'm not even sure it's worth it. Nope, it is worth it. Looks much cleaner. Actually, on this board, it evaporates almost completely. I don't know why it didn't on this. It does remove the flux really well. Yeah, I don't think I'm the patience doing the whole board like this. So should I maybe do just some quick swipes? I think the point of cleaning this is around terminal. Maybe it's not too hard if you sit back, let your back relax. After 2 hours of desoldering and soldering. Yeah, I remember building a work desk for building mechanical keyboards and definitely making it higher. Not sure wouldn't go any lower, but I definitely could make the table higher. Oh, snap. So that was 0.4, I think. 3. Probably not cleaning all the flux off the board, but at least I could get most of it. So there were some spills. When the flux boils, it spatters a little bit. Actually feel the hot flux splatters on my right hand. I was soldering, but it was totally tolerable. It wasn't even painful. So, the only problem with this flux is that it burns, and okay, that's one. I should resolder. Will carry the charge just fine, but looks nasty. Yeah, so the advice I got from the community is to use isopropyl alcohol, use Q-tips, or possibly some wipes. Don't have to be clean wipes because you should really use anything than alcohol on this. So alcohol will evaporate, leaving the board dry and clean. 2 rows left, actually not too hard. Control. Oh, I cannot wait to type on these. The space on my desk, which has a silent black, feels so good now. Well then, that's done. Didn't take me too long, but let's see how clean that is. Well, still doesn't look very good, but I think it's fine. Yeah, I'm just gonna deal with the flux. I'll look up how to clean it better when I start building my 60%. So let's get that case back here and slap that sucker inside. this. And then, this fit into place pretty snugly. So let's try and do the switch test again. Switch tester. Keyboard tester. This should work. The only thing that's not working is this, and that's the function key. So let's try. I remember my media controls should be here. Yeah. Yep, that's pause. It's working. Next. Open and pancakes. Oh, that's a good song. I'm gonna listen to that when I'm done. Alright, so let's clean up a little bit. Just a little bit. Not too much cleanup. You want that? And this spool is way too small for this amount of solder. Right? That's why I had two loose strands at the beginning of the stream. Right, when I started soldering. The least you should do is take some piece of adhesive, put it on top of the end of the solder points. The end of the solder wire. So now it should stay neat. Okay. This soldering iron actually belongs to my friend, and he fashioned a carrying case for it from an old Soviet toothbrush case, which is it's too light. It's almost completely white. So since it didn't fit super snugly, he just used some styrofoam. I don't know if you can see the styrofoam. And that holds it in place nice and tightly. Great. I just love people repurposing stuff. It works great afterwards. So that's the case, and I sold them on these rubber bands, which I got like 100 of, 200, in a convenience store in Spain, and I've been using them ever since for everything. So there you go. There's your portable TS100 soldering iron. Of course, the biggest thing taking space is it's actually the power block, the power brick. You can have multiple of those at different locations. Or you can use the USB wire, or you can just carry it around. It's not that big. It's definitely smaller than a soldering station. Oops. Switched off something else. That something else was my monitor. So I like to be Neat. So, wait, why am I? Yeah, no. Every switch works, so I can roll my soldering iron. That goes here. And this. Wish I had an action cam like Pete. Action cam sounds dope. Okay, that's the brick. All wires wrapped up on either side. So then I'll just use this. Unless I'm afraid it's gonna break on me next time I do this. It's a very tight fit. But then there you go. That's the power brick. So Velcro would be nicer, probably, but these rubber bands work just fine. Okay, don't need this anymore. Not sure what to do with this Cherry Max Blacks. It's just a soldering iron stand from the paper clip. Similar thing. Guess I can reuse this. Okay, I'll clean the solder. I'll clean it. Soldering pump. Excess solder. Then desoldering pump. Deep rest. Let's see, we don't need those right now. Oh, should have more of these. So let's assemble the board. I took a picture of the top portion. Basically, it's 4 clips spread evenly on the back and in the same locations here. Okay, not the same locations, scratch that. They're a bit closer to the center. And then 2 clips on this one. They're short and sturdy. It's pretty hard to break them. Very nice. Okay, so the board is in, the cable's in. Try and close this now. Good. Oh, missed one. Good here, good here. Okay, cool. Well, time to put the keycaps in. Should I relubricate these? Oh, we'll see after the sound check. So let's go for the... Oh, actually, this... No, this is not flipped. Flipped it on my N and on my dash, but I haven't flipped it here. Let's remove the co-star stabs. Just exit. Twisting it 180 degrees and then putting it back in. So then we need the stab to be standing still. The wire through one stab with push towards the side where stabilizer pin is already on the wire, and it should drop down. should, but it doesn't. Come on. See you there. There you go. Okay. Oh, that's pretty nasty. Okay. So, I guess we're lubing the stabs. Okay. So I had some just a bunch of bags in a box here. So sometimes I lose stuff and sometimes I find stuff I don't expect to find. But okay. So let's use some silicone grease and a brush. Oh, there you are. I was looking for these mediators. You go here. Oh, wait. So let's lube the stabs. 8 a.m. I need to wrap this up. So to remove the stabs, the cherry or the coaster stabs, you need to push, get something underneath the side of the rail. Gonna remove that, and then I'm going to just remove the metal portions of these, just the metal bars. Okay, I don't feel the need to do the bar itself. Just do the stabs. Actual place where it clips in. It seems lubricated, but here. I don't know why people lube this part. Sorry. Why people lube this. You're just gonna put it inside a clip that's full with lube. It's like they're overkill. And, don't want to overkill and stuff that feels like a chore. Lubing chores definitely feels like a chore to me. Lubing chores? No, lubing stabs definitely feels like a chore to me. So I want to make the process as quick, as painless as possible. I don't see the point of lubing the same thing twice. So again, take a little bit of silicone Teflon paste and then just put it some in. That's totally enough. I actually can't with the gray here. And I'll just do the excess that I have on a brush. I'm not too bothered. So good. That's good. Should work just fine. I'm still not sure if leaving this part is any significant silencing effect, since it makes sense that contacts of plastic on plastic they do make a contact at this part. However, the sound that we're trying to mitigate is actually the wire. It's nothing to do, absolutely nothing to do with the plastic on plastic. It's more of a plastic on metal, and only contact point. Well, actually, no. Also the stab inserts that go into the buttons. Let's see. Oops. This thing. Okay, I'm only gonna lube the base block stabs because I don't really use the numlock, especially at home. Technically, the other contact point that is plastic with metal inserts. So, do this. So when it's flipped, this, the wire in, push, insert, and stop. Come on, let it go. Ah, no, it will not work. I need to flip stab base. Yeah. Wait. Once stabs. Really strange. I was able to flip my spacebar on my DAS without flipping stab. We'll see. Should work just as well. Nope. It appears I've put bar. Yeah, I just put the bar the wrong way in. Well, that's cool. It'd be like this, didn't it? I don't know. What should I understand? I'll just remember. Yes, shouldn't have flipped. That doesn't make sense. Interesting. Okay, if it doesn't help, I'm gonna back to the original position. So close that. There we go. Whew, much better. So let's get all the long keys out. Then reopen. Should be one more. Backspace, left shift. No, two more. Save the shift. No, that's the entry key. Plus key. And the right shift. Cool. Okay. So I have all of them. Then let's see. Put some slip on them. Batch. That wasn't effective. Flip it. Just too slow. Much faster. Half here. There. Okay. See if I have some tissues. Just to clean the brush. Okay. Hose lube. Let's put them on. Enter. These guys are the trickiest. I mean, I don't think I even have to say in my opinion because these are just such a pain. They're close together. The well side is right next to it. Yeah, that's good. Pulaski now. That's gonna be. Actually, no, it's. So gonna do it this way. No, not bad. Maybe I remember in this one I already had keycaps all over my numpad. And that's why I remember it being so hard. But apparently. Okay. Nope. Wait, what? No sticky keys. I'm fine. Don't worry about me. Okay, I guess I can remove the protective glasses now. Not soldering anymore. I'm gonna be fine with keycaps. But the protective glasses. Oh, that's what it feels better. And I don't know if the springs wear out really, but this feels stiffer, which is always welcome. On my gaming keyboard. Oh, stop. Stop. Okay. Really helps if you look at the board from the action cam perspective. Ah, sticky keys. I wish there was a use for you, but there isn't. At least not for me. Oh, you can actually slid in. But should be in the way for sure. And it is. Don't get me wrong. It's still possible. Alright. See what we got. We should get some PBTs from the gaming keyboard. This is just dirt cheap ABS. That was cool. Why does keyboard still connect? It's messing up all of my games. Division, multiplication, subtraction. So plus goes together with minus. The division goes first. So left. I don't know. Good way to remember, but we'll try. Slash. We use the left alt, and that seems to be way more worn, so the left control, so they go here. I mean, if I wanted to even out the damage to the speakers, swap left and right. I'm not going to do that, so that should be the control. Yeah, see how much? No, you don't. See the difference in the color. Legends, this is just so worn out. Because it's used all the time for gaming. DX. CXC. There's my Y. No, B, ZXT. B. So, okay. That's T. These two. Ah, there you go. This is my Team Liquid double shot PBT cap, which is an escape key, even though the profile is like row 2, I want to say. I don't know. But I like it as my escape button. God, they're so soft. Okay, let's assemble it. F9. Six. Better turn them all over. One scroll to the left, which means the print screen. One. W. Actually, G. 12. My bad. Four. Two. Q. Tilde. Should be more. JK. Oh, you have found the F key. Try here, holding the screws. Screws together. Screws. Just put screws back in. It's quite interesting placement. Right under the legs. I really need to get that bit set for my fix-it that Pete recommends. I do have some small screwdrivers, but great, I have one set. And then okay, it's good. Time to reconnect it properly. Let's see now. Okay. Okay, let's see. Okay. Well, let's see. test. Three hours it took me. Well, it's not too bad. Not too fast either. Let's try search. So let's just try. Oh man. That's it's quite a difference. Oh, loop stabs. I'm so glad I did that. So let's break. Unlock. Scroll caps. Okay. Oh, it all works. It feels really nice. Weird feeling. It makes it feel more gooey. I mean, not as snappy. I like bashing the keys in, but this, I think, for gaming with teammates, this is way better than just like. Oh, I'm really happy I did this. Then try it up slowly. Definitely much quieter, and I like it. It does feel more mushy since the rubber needs more time to be compressed and then to jump back up. But still, for gaming, easier on your teammates. I believe the Switch is superior to almost anything you can use for gaming. Oh, thanks for everyone who joined, which I believe was Chokamek in Japan. Thanks for him for joining, and this this was our resolder of Thermaltake Meka G1. We resoldered the base block from standard CherryMX blacks to CherryMX silent blacks, which should make the experience quieter and help my teammates not to rage. Thank you, and I hope it's useful, fun, and entertaining. See you guys later.